Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video, let's talk about redoing and rescaping this 40-gallon breeder right here. Stay tuned. So the first thing I wanted to do was get rid of all of the algae infested decor and some of the plants that were already in this tank had quite a bit of algae, especially the Anubias, which was attached to a piece of driftwood. So I needed to remove all of that stuff and clean it up as best as I could, which was actually quite difficult in terms of these big rocks that have, as you can see, a lot of blackbeard algae growing on them. It took a ton of scrubbing. And of course I'm not going to use all of them like I had before, because in the previous setup, although the fish liked the places to hide between the rocks, a lot of the plant substrate was behind these big rocks and hard to see. And in this redo, one of the things that I really wanted to do was to bring the plants more into the foreground, or at least more visible when you look inside the tank. And so that design had to go, and I didn't need as many boulders. I ended up not using a couple of them that were in this tank previously. Now, one of the main problems with the tank as it was before was I had a common pleco in this tank that's about 12 inches long, and I finally removed that fish and moved it to a 75-gallon tank that I have set up. The problem with the common pleco is, number one, it's large, so anytime it moves around it kind of destroys everything in its path, and when it whips that tail it can just break plants, uproot plants, move the substrate around. So it's a very destructive fish, especially in a tank the size of a 40-gallon. So I was never able to get plants to grow very well because they would just get destroyed. And I'm not certain, but I suspect too that it would eat some plants when it felt like it, or it was hungry enough. It is a large fish, so it does eat quite a bit. So having removed all the rocks and cleaned the ones I wanted to reuse as best I could, I reinserted them and put the plant substrate on either side of this tank, which is what you see me doing here in the video. In the center I kept the fine little pebble sand. It's not a sand, but a fine little gravel that was in the tank previously. So one of the difficult things about doing this is I didn't remove the fish, so I had to be very careful not to hurt them while I was doing this. So the video is sped up greatly, so in actuality I didn't go very fast at all. I was very cautious to go very slow to make sure that the fish were all right. Now the way I'm setting up the new tank is going to be a completely planted tank with a very simple design. So the hardscape is intentionally very, very simple, and I want it that way on purpose because I want the plants to grow in and create sort of a jungle effect. So the primary focus of this tank as it's redone will be the fish, obviously, but the plants. So when the plants grow in, I'm hoping that it has that jungle look to it. Some of the plants that are in this tank are melon swords, the octopus plant, Anacharis, Java fern, Anubias, and a couple others I'm not sure of, as well as one that's some sort of hydrophilia variety, which there are several varieties, but that plant grows really well for me, both in the water and above the water. It's above the water in some of my small betta tanks along on one of my walls, which you can check out in one of my fish tour videos, which I will try to link above and in the description below. So this was a little bit of a stressful process because I was worried about the fish, but in actuality everyone was fine, and the tank turned out fine also. It did stir up a lot of stuff and create a lot of mess, but the filter on this tank easily remedied that situation in short order. So I hope you liked the video. Please consider liking and subscribing. Leave me a comment. If you've kept plants, let me know what plants work really well for you, and maybe I should give them a try. So I'm hoping for the best with this tank. I think it turned out well, and as these plants grow, it should look even better and better and better. So really excited about this. This has been on in my agenda for quite some time. Every time I looked at this tank in its previous state, it made me sad. So I feel like any of us that have a certain number of tanks will probably have one of those tanks that does that to you now and again. So it was good to get that off my plate and get it redone and get it looking better. So thanks for watching, and happy fish keeping, folks. We'll see you later.